Hey everyone, I'm the Canadian Lad, and this time I watched Spider-Man No Way Home extended cut at 0.2 speed and found 13 new details that will make you fall in love with this film all over again. I don't think I'll ever get bored of watching No Way Home. When good writing gets mixed with nostalgia, things just work, don't they? Now speaking of Marvel heroes, I'd like to take a minute to thank Marvel Snap for sponsoring today's video. If you watch my videos, you're most likely a huge Marvel fan like me. Marvel Snap is brought to you by the game designer of Hearthstone as a sort of a love letter to Marvel fans alike. This free-to-play card battle game has elements of poker, in that you can bet or bluff your cards, but also requires quick thinking and strategy. To be honest, I have a terrible poker face, so it's nice to be able to bluff safely behind my mobile device. In Snap, over the course of 6 turns, each player makes their move during the same turn, so this is really where strategy can take effect. The goal is to overthrow your opponent at 2 out of 3 randomized locations in the middle of the board to win. But be mindful because each location has game-altering effects. And here's a hidden detail I noticed. Marvel Snap actually hired famous comic book artists to design the in-game arts. And in this game, you can only earn cards by playing. You cannot buy your way up the ranks. This game looks super fun and the arts are awesome. So give it a go. It's available on Steam with early access. And the full version launched on October 18th for iOS and Android. Best of all, your account carries over from mobile to Steam, so you can swap between platforms without your progress getting lost. So download the game now using my link in the description. I'm really excited about this game and I hope you are too. Number 1. Aunt May's interrogation scene is not only extended in this one, but it's a completely different take with a different camera angle altogether. Let me play it out for you as much as I can without getting a strike.
A boy was entrusted to you, and as his legal guardian, essentially his mother, you not only allowed him to endanger himself, but you actually encouraged it. Who does that? You should lawyer up. You should definitely lawyer up. Child endangerment's a nasty rap. Child endangerment's a nasty rap.
Number 2. In my official breakdown of No Way Home, which by the way you should definitely check out if you haven't already, there I had mentioned how Aunt May calls Matt Murdock by his first name, but everyone else addressed Matt with his last name. So I had suspected back in December 2021 that Aunt May must have had previous interactions with Matt Murdock. At least that's what the writers implied here. But now in this extended edition, my theory has turned out to be correct, because in this extended scene, Aunt May quite blatantly admits that she was charged with criminal activities before.
Sounds like someone who's been through the system before.
Yeah, I've been arrested at a couple of protests. I'm a real career criminal.
So now with this extra bit of dialogue, we can surely say that Aunt May knew Matt Murdock from before, and he's the one that probably got her off the charges brought against her. That's why Matt was May's first choice when it came to saving Peter from going to prison. Number 3. In this second bonus scene, Spider-Man stops a burglar from running away, and this burglar was played by none other than Tom's own brother, Harry Holland. But that's not the detail I want you to focus on. Notice these tiny posters, or stickers I should say, on the streetlights and on the buildings. It's Mysterio's picture with a big text that says, "I believe," meaning it's from some mysterious reporter who says, "I believe Mysterio." Number 4. Mr. Harrington had prepared a little something to welcome Peter at school. Now one thing that I never noticed in this whole scene, despite watching the film 8 times in theaters and making 3 official breakdowns, is that Flash Thompson is the only one in his school who actually tried hard for his yearbook photo. All the students had their pictures taken in front of a blue screen, meaning they all had to come to the school studio to get their pictures taken. But only Flash Thompson has a photo with trees in the background, and he's also posing in the photo that doesn't match any other students in the yearbook. This is an Easter egg that really fits perfectly with his character. Number 5. While Peter walks on his school hallway, notice this TV screen which now says, "Welcome back, Tigers." Now John Watts, the director of the film, played the most with this particular TV. Let me explain what I mean by that. In the trailer, this TV showed footage of Betty Brant talking to the camera, and in the movie this was replaced with some random footage, which I will get back to in a minute. But now in this extended cut, this footage has again been changed for the 3rd time and now says, "Welcome back, Tigers," which obviously refers to Peter Parker, but the word tiger is in plural, meaning this is something Betty Brant has put up there as a welcome message for Peter, MJ, and Ned. Number 6. In the 3rd bonus scene, Coach Wilson and all the other students kind of bully Peter into climbing the wall, and once he does that, one of them says this. And I think this really adds more depth to Peter's character, the kind of struggles he has to go through now that everyone knows he's Spider-Man. On one hand, they force him to show his powers, and when he does, they call him a freak. But notice how MJ wasn't even looking at Peter climbing the walls, because she loves Peter, and it's hard for your loved ones to see you getting humiliated. Number 7. In another scene, Betty Brant shows a video of students who came up with their own renovation plan for the Statue of Liberty, and there are some really cool Easter eggs and references here, like this one, where Lady Liberty is holding the Sokovia Accords on her left hand, instead of of the tablet that she holds now. The tablet on her left hand symbolizes the law, and Sokovia Accords in the MCU also symbolizes the law, but for the superheroes. Now, of course, we learned in She-Hulk that the Sokovia Accords have been repealed. Another student imagined his version of Lady Liberty as an archer who holds a bow and arrow. This could be a reference to Hawkeye. Another student went completely off the rails and made his version resemble the Incredible Hulk. Then there's an Iron Man-inspired Lady Liberty where she designed an arc reactor on the chest, and the torch looks like the Infinity Gauntlet. And then this one which has a functional red cape. Now, if this was DC, I would have said Superman, but this obviously is a reference to Thor. Now, the detail in this scene isn't just the functional cape that goes up with the press of a button. It's this guy who came up with the idea, because in the previous scene he said this.
We were lab partners. Did you know that?
So it makes sense that someone who used to be lab partners with Peter Parker came up with a version of Lady Liberty that requires some engineering. Now with the last one, it gets a bit darker, as this particular guy who happens to be a mysterious supporter imagined his version of Lady Liberty with a fishbowl helmet, and instead of putting the torch on the right hand, he put it on a left hand, implying the exact opposite of freedom. I can't believe they put this much work in scenes that eventually got deleted. Betty Brant then mentions a PSA from Principal Merida, and the PSA is for the cafeteria safety, and this is the footage that was randomly shown in the original version of the movie, but now with the extended cut, we know what it means. Number 8. There's now a very long Undercroft montage which was deleted from the original cut, and here we see a diorama of the entire Sanctum Sanctorum, including a miniature version of Doctor Strange inside of it. Notice he even makes eye contact with MJ, and look at how the lights flicker as soon as MJ walks near it. This is probably a way Doctor Strange is still keeping an eye on all of them, especially on the multiversal villains. Number 9. J. Jonah Jameson's supplement ad is now extended, and shows us a full conversation he has with someone who witnessed Spider-Man fighting Electro with the help of Sandman. But notice the name of the person Jameson interviews.
Now joined by Supervisor Walter Burke, who was at the scene of tonight's disturbance.
Now Walter Burke isn't just a random name. He does exist in the comics, precisely in Tales of Suspense number 30, released back in 1962. Walter Burke was a talented civil engineer who was skilled at designing and building amusement park rides. He constructed several frightening rides for his boss Charlie Harris in the comics, but Charlie would always demand Burke to outdo himself and come up with new scary rides. Burke literally died building new rides for his boss, but the last ride that he built eventually killed his boss Charlie. It's an interesting story, and I'm glad that there's a reference to him in the film. Number 10. The scene where Peter and Norman Osborn work together to fix Dr. Otto's chip is now extended, and they now talk about the exact solution Peter came up with.
He is so miserable all the time. He is so miserable all the time. But if you look here, if I can introduce
self-healing composite circuitry.
Number 11. Now this was well advertised before this extended cut was released that we're gonna see the full version of the conversation the three Spider-Men have together. And here Andrew Garfield now talks about how he wishes he could have done all the things differently.
All the things I wished I could have done differently.
This scene quite clearly establishes that Andrew is still not over Gwen. He still ponders how he could have done things differently to save Gwen Stacy. Andrew then says he will grab Tobey's number once they're done fighting the villains, and then all three of them talk about Tobey's organic web. A little too detailed this time.
I'm not sure what to say, it's just a natural thing, it just happens.
It's so cool, man. Like, I want to see the holes.
Hey, what are like...
Andrew saying he wants to see Tobey's holes, and the look on Tobey's face is just incredible. Honestly, I think this extended cut was worth it just for the look on Tobey's face. And I love the fact that Andrew talked about the holes in Tobey's body where his webs come from, because back in Spider-Man 1, Sam Raimi actually went out of his way to make sure there was a nozzle on Tobey's suit, so it becomes a bit more practical how the webs come through the suit. And now that Andrew mentioned it again in No Way Home, this is just one of the biggest Easter eggs for all of us Spidey fans. But I do understand Andrew didn't quite mean the nozzle in Tobey's suit, but the actual holes in Tobey's wrists. But you know, both of these are connected. Number 12. In the newly added post-credit scene, we now see that photos of Peter Parker still exist, but they're somehow blocked by something in front, in this case a pigeon. This is a photo that was taken in Far From Home when they were all in Venice. So Doctor Strange's spell, which made everyone forget about Peter Parker, didn't make him vanish out of all the physical evidence that says he existed. It just blurred everything out. And if Ned and MJ see this photo again, they would go, yes, someone like this existed and was standing there with us, but we don't quite remember who he was. And that's how the spell basically works. The physical evidences are still there, but Peter's face is invisible some way or the other. Number 13. In one of Flash Thompson's TikTok, in the background we can see that Ned was trying to teach Betty the handshake that he does with Peter Parker, but Betty wasn't interested. So that was probably towards the end of their relationship where things weren't going too well between them. This happened during Far From Home, by the way, but now shown as a post-credit scene in No Way Home. And that's it. This would be another breakdown of Spider-Man No Way Home at 0.2 speed. Let me tell you you something I haven't told in any of my breakdowns before. No matter how many times I watch this film, it always chokes me up towards the end. Seeing Tobey talk to Alfred Molina, Peter saying take care of yourself to Happy, while Happy has no memory of Peter, it just all makes me teary. I mean, if you think about it, Peter and Happy both lost the most in the recent times. Happy lost his best friend and now the love of his life, while Peter lost his mentor and now his Aunt May, who was like a mother figure to him. The fact that this movie ended with these two talking to each other gives me goosebumps every time. When the writers you hire to write your project and they love the source material, there's nothing the writers can do that will go wrong. Kudos to Sony and Marvel for giving us one of the best comic book movies of all time. And thanks to Tobey and Andrew for keeping their egos aside and coming together for us one more time. Now please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, grab the subscribe button and turn notifications on. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter to get updates about my videos. Till then, I'll see you lads in the next one.